Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the return of the Lyons Den Quiz League. We are back for season number 11. Management has been taken over. The league was run by Benny and Looney for 10 seasons, and they were incredible. And now they decided to take a step back, but it has been picked up by Saluna and several other people as well. I believe Saluna is doing most of the organization, but there are several people, contributing to the quizzes. So it's really, really great to have these back. Because this is such a fun league and such high quality trivia, and it's just great it's great to be here, really. So, week one looks like this. 3 of the quizzes are written by Saluna, so he has been doing quite a lot of work. We've also got 1 by Yertle, 1 by Physics, 1 by Rasmus, and 1 by Tezzy. I'm not sure if there are other people as well contributing to the league. I guess we'll see in future weeks who else is writing the quizzes, but Saluna definitely doing a lot of work. So, massive, massive thanks to him in particular, but to everybody who is involved, because it wouldn't be possible without them. But I'm excited to get back into the quizzes. There is a little bit of a new thing this season. The second quiz, rather than being a second general knowledge quiz, will be kind of an Only Connect style quiz. If you don't know what Only Connect is, it has several rounds. This is specifically the first 2 rounds of Only Connect. Let me just take a look. Let me just click on the... Let's just go look at the quiz itself. Okay, so the quiz looks like this, basically. The idea is, for this quiz, it's a connections quiz. Essentially, you have to find the connections between the 4 things that are shown on the screen here. So there's something that connects, Shoal, Mictlan, Patala, and Xibalba, right? For example, again, I'll get to this quiz when I actually do it, but that's the idea. And then the other style, which presumably we'll see next week, is they'll give you 3 things that are in a sequence, and you have to figure out what the 4th thing in the sequence is. But for this week, it's just connections. Anyway, that's the idea behind quiz number 2 now. And again, I'll continue to explain it as we go. But we're 2 minutes in, so I'm going to get started with the quizzes themselves. First one is a general knowledge quiz. It is called Rock of Ages, written by Saluna. Saluna is a geologist, so it makes sense that we're starting with a rock quiz. But it is actually general knowledge. It's not just about geology. Famously named 19 times in the New Testament with a name derived from a word relating to rock. Who was the first bishop of Antioch? Born under a different name, he was renamed Cephas by Jesus Christ from the Aramaic word for rock and stone, and would go on to lead another slightly more famous role. According to Christian tradition, this man was crucified in Rome under Emperor Nero. Starting off the next season of the LDQL with a question I do not know the answer to. I have no clue what's going on. I'm going to say Judas Iscariot. I mean, crucified makes sense because he was not a good dude, I guess, because, he betrayed Jesus or whatever. I don't know how he died. It could have been that way. Was he Bishop of Antioch? I don't know. I just know he was like a disciple, but honestly, I tried to think about this one for a while and I could not come up with anything. I don't really know anything related to the Bible, so it makes sense I'm not getting this right. But yeah, I just don't know. Question 2. Humans reached the brink of extinction circa 74,000 years ago when what volcano erupted in Sumatra, Indonesia? The site of the former volcano is now occupied by a lake of the same name, the largest lake in Indonesia. Largest lake in Indonesia is on the island of, it says Sumatra, but it's called Lake Toba. Specifically, the Toba supervolcano, I believe, is how it's normally referred to, but just Toba should be fine here. Lake Toba, incredibly beautiful place. And yeah, the lake kind of exists because of the giant volcanic eruption that happened many, many years ago. What was the stage name of actor Roy Harold Scherer Jr.? Spanning a career of more than 3 decades, this golden age of Hollywood star was one of the first major American celebrities to die from an AIDS-related illness in 1984. Following his death, Elizabeth Taylor, his co-star in the film Giant, purchased a bronze plaque on the West Hollywood Memorial Walk to honor him. I believe this is Rock Hudson. I don't know much about who he was, but I know that Rock Hudson is a guy who famously died of AIDS. And, his name is Rock, right? So it fits the quiz theme. So I'm pretty sure this will be Rock Hudson. Rock salmon, also known as huss or flake, is the British term for a certain type of sea creature, sometimes incorporated into fish and chips. However, contrary to its name, is not derived from any species of salmon, but rather what type of marine animal. Hakarl in Iceland and burrita in Sardinia are prepared from the same creatures. I don't know what burrita is. I don't know what rock salmon is, but Hakarl in Iceland is fermented shark. It's one of those famous dishes that's like people eat it there and everyone in the rest of the world thinks they're insane because it tastes disgusting because it's like, been sitting out for 6 months and rotting. But, I guess that's sometimes what local delicacies are like. So yes, shark should be the answer here. Known as Rockman in Japan, what video game character, first appearing in 1987, is the title character and main protagonist of the Capcom-produced video game series named for him? In the series, the video game character joins forces with his creator, Dr. Light, to defeat the mad scientist Dr. Wily and his army of robots using his signature arm-mounted cannon. I have a guess for this. I'm going to say Mega Man, because I think this fits the clues. Like, I think Mega Man at least shoots people as he runs around and does things. I'm not very familiar with Mega Man or with, well, many video games at all, but I think this is roughly what Mega Man is about, and it makes sense. Like Rockman in Japan, Mega Man and elsewhere. Like, I think it seems reasonable. So I feel decent about this, although it is, in the end, still a guess. And finally, in curling, rocks are the names for the heavy, polished granite stones slid across the ice. What is the name for the circular target marked on the ice that the rocks are slid into? This area shares its name with a style of electronic dance music created in Chicago, and is characterized by a repetitive 4-on-the-floor beat and a typical tempo of 115 to 130 BPM. Not sure here, but I have a guess. I know that house music is a thing. House definitely seems like the name of something you would try and get something to slide into. Like, it just kind of works, I think, as far as I can tell. So I feel reasonably good about this guess, but again, it is a guess. I don't actually know curling terminology, but yeah. So House, Mega Man, Shark, Rock Hudson, Toba, and Judas. I actually haven't thought about which one to enhance here, which is going to be interesting. I mean, Rock Hudson is a very well-known person. Like, if I know who it is, I think there's no way that's that hard. People are going to know the Shark thing, I think. I honestly might. Do I enhance 2? How many people know what Lake Toba is? Like, I don't know. Enhancing geography always feels iffy, but I don't think that's easy. And I think it's honestly, in terms of like how many people know it, it is harder. It's just a question of what is the audience playing these quizzes. I have to kind of take that into account. I feel like number 1 might be the hardest, but I don't know the answer to it. And 5 and 6 are guesses that I don't feel like I should enhance anyway, because if they're right, they're probably not that hard anyway. So I think I might actually go for Toba, but this might be a mistake, because GeoGuessr players do know what Lake Toba is, or many of them do. So let's try it. Enhance number 2. Do we get a CAPTCHA? We don't. St. Peter. Okay, sure, that's a guy. That's one of the apostles. That's a person from the Bible. Do I know anything about him? No, I just know he's like the guy who supposedly is at the gates of heaven or whatever. But that wasn't clued, so there's not much I can do there. Toba, Rock Hudson, Shark, it is Mega Man, and it is House. So 5 out of 6, honestly, pretty decent. That's kind of what I expected out of that quiz, because I felt pretty solid about my guesses on the last 2. But yeah, I think 5 out of 6 is a pretty good start, so we take those. On to quiz 2. So this is the connections quiz. Try and find the connection between these 4 clues. Now, number 1 is... So this is a little different. Only connect, obviously, you get them like 1 by 1, and if you like get it earlier with fewer clues, you get more points. Here, it's just you get all 4. Can you figure it out? So it's a little different. But I do play in an online only connect league, and I find these types of questions very, very fun. So I'm glad that this is making an appearance. Anyway, the best guess that I have for this one is The Sun. Here Comes the Sun, of course, being a Beatles song, and The Sun Also Rises being a Hemingway novel. The problem is I don't know the other things. Spielberg is a skill issue. Like, I should probably know what that is, but I can't think of a movie that has the sun in it. And then the 4th one, like, forget about it. I don't know anything about tarot. I don't care. Like, it's just not interesting to me at all. So that one's not going to happen. But I think that this is a reasonable guess, at least. Because I'm thinking of other Hemingway novels like A Farewell to Arms and The Old Man and the Sea and whatever the other one is, For Whom the Bell Tolls. None of those seem to fit quite as well with anything I could think of, so I'm going with The Sun. Number 2, this is the one I feel the least confident about. I don't really know what's going on. I'm pretty sure that Jeu de Paume is the predecessor to tennis, like it's what it was called before, like the original tennis was called Jeu de Paume. But I don't know what any of the rest of this is, so I'm going to say predecessors to modern sports and hope that that's roughly what they're going for, but I don't actually know. It could be something entirely different. I just haven't really heard of any of the rest of this stuff, or like I don't know what it would be, like cannon shooting, ballooning, like I don't know what those things are. So there's not too much that I can do here. I just have to hope that this is what they're going for based off of the one thing that I've heard of, or at least, I mean, like I've maybe heard of these, but I don't really know what they are, if you know what I mean. What connects these 4 clues? So I believe that these are just going to be underworlds. Um, Again, it scares me because I've never heard of any of the first three, but I know that Xibalba is the underworld in Mayan mythology, and the fact that they're written under a dotted line makes me think, okay, like underworld, like that's what we're trying to clue here, is that it's under the line. So I think that's probably these are probably just all underworlds. Mictlan could be like Aztec. It sounds roughly Nahuatl, and then Shoal sounds maybe Korean. I don't know what Patala would be. Like it could be like an Indian thing or something. But yeah, I'm just going to go with this. I think it's a pretty reasonable guess. These four, I thought about this for a bit. The best thing that I can come up with for this is transatlantic trade. Because like diseases going, one way and another way, tobacco going to the east, coffee going to the west. Like I think of coffee as being, originally African, and I think of tobacco as being an American thing. So it makes sense that tobacco was getting shipped east across the Atlantic, whereas coffee was getting shipped to the west. So I assume that's what's going on with the arrows here. Again, sunflowers, soybeans. I guess I would have guessed that soybeans were an American thing because like they're grown so commonly there, but it also wouldn't shock me if they originally came from the east side of the Atlantic. So that's what I'm going with. I feel pretty solid about it. What connects these four clues? This is annoying because like you can't see them that well. I mean, I could like do this, right? If you guys want to take a look at these more closely. But what's going on here? I mean, the third one is definitely James Harden, the basketball player. And then the one on the right is from Thomas the Tank Engine, and I watched a good amount of Thomas the Tank Engine when I was a kid. I don't remember exactly which is which, but I do remember for sure that there is a train in Thomas the Tank Engine called James, and I think he was red. So if that's James Harden, that's James the Train. The second one's probably James Madison. Could be like Monroe or something, but it's probably a guy called James. And the first one looks like maybe a monarch, so it could be like James the First or James the Second of England. So my thought here is that these are all Jameses. And finally, what connects these four clues? Aluminum, the Last Supper, the American colonies, and a bar mitzvah. This maybe is the most straightforward of all of them, I think. The 13 colonies is what they're commonly known as, at least around here. And the Last Supper has Jesus and the 12 apostles, so 13 people. Aluminum is atomic number 13 on the periodic table, and then a bar mitzvah presumably happens at the age of 13 is what's being clued, so this should be 13. And as for what to enhance, I don't feel great about number 1. I'm worried that it's wrong, and I think 2 is probably wrong, so I think I go with 3 because I feel good about with the whole below the line thing being underworlds, and I don't think that any of these are actually easy. Like Xibalba, I know from like Quiz Bowl, but it's not common knowledge. So I think I'll go with 3 and hope that that's the right thing to do. And here's the CAPTCHA. We knew this was coming. The sun. Good. Okay. Former Olympic sports. Okay, so that's wrong, unfortunately. Underworlds is correct. Columbian exchange. I said transatlantic trade. That should be fine. That's the same thing as far as I can tell. West from Europe. I guess Europe. Okay, I thought one of them was Africa, so that's why I said transatlantic. But I think this is still fine. Like, isn't Columbian exchange just like the triangle trade or whatever? Like, I don't know. I think I should get credit for that because transatlantic trade. I mean, that's what's going on, right? It's going east. It's going west. Like that is what I said. James is correct. 13 is correct. So that is 5 out of 6. And I was close on the sports, but I didn't know that like jeu de paume was ever an Olympic sport. But I guess fair enough. I was just a little bit off base there. Empire of the Sun apparently is a Spielberg. And then the Sun. Wait, what was the... Oh, that was just the tarot card, right? Okay, makes sense. But I was right about Here Comes the Sun, and the sun also rises. So that is 5 out of 6 once again. Quiz 3 is pop culture, which is traditionally my weakest quiz. We'll see if I can do a little bit better today. A lifelong New York Knicks fan and known for attending their games, what director wore a signature Knicks pinstripe orange and blue suit at the Cannes Film Festival red carpet in 2025? His newest movie, starring Denzel Washington and A$AP Rocky, premiered at the festival just before his beloved Knicks played against the Pacers in the conference finals. Best guess here is Spike Lee. I mean, I know that he's from New York for sure. And his most recent movie starred black actors, which again makes sense for Spike Lee, I would say. And it's just the best thing that I can come up with. So I think this is just But I mean, I would be surprised if this is wrong because this is just like, this kind of just sounds to me like Spike Lee, but we will see. What TV show incorporated fan art into an episode that made a relationship between two of its characters, Craig and Tweek, canon? Going by the name Creek, this relationship stemmed from shipping within the fandom. The couple is often looked at as one of the most healthy in the show, especially when compared to the relationships of other characters such as Saddam Hussein and the Devil. By the way, sorry if the lighting is weird. The sun is like setting in front of me, but hopefully it's fine. But there's like some weird glow on like the couch and stuff. Anyway, this one I'm not sure. I'm gonna guess South Park because I know that like I'm pretty like I've seen the South Park movie. Like I think there's a movie, right? And it has like Saddam Hussein in it. I know that. I don't remember what his role is, but and I've also seen South Park where like the devil, like I know that the devil is also a character in South Park. The thing is, I've never heard of Craig and Tweek, so I don't feel great about this. But like, I can't think of another TV show that has Saddam Hussein and the devil in it, so it's like this is just gonna be my guess. I just don't know much about South Park in general. What musical group has fans called Icons? This girl group of 6 was formed in 2024 and has members from 4 different countries. Most famous for their signals, Gnarly and Gabriella. The group went viral for their Gap commercial featuring the song Milkshake by Kellis. I have no idea what's happening here. Like, I could not be more lost. I mean, Icons, I'll say like Vision or something, or maybe they have I in the band name or something. But like realistically, I have no clue what this is. It might be K-pop, like it's something along those lines, maybe. But there is nothing in this question that is even remotely familiar to me. So other than I guess I've heard of the song Milkshake, but anyway, it's not going to help me. So I'm just going to give up because basically I have no idea what this is. Question 4. Snoop Dogg has been a fan of Celtic Football Club ever since he was handed a Celtic jersey in a hotel lobby in the early 2000s. They have historic rivalry with which team it shares a city with? Together, the clubs make up the Old Firm. They also share their name and colors with an American hockey team that plays its home games in Madison Square Garden. That would be the New York Rangers. This is just Rangers Football Club. I do know it from the actual soccer, not just from the hockey team. But yeah, Celtic Rangers is just a famous rivalry in Glasgow. The Daily Mirror and Scottish concert promoter, good lord, Andy Lothian, both claim to have first named what phenomenon. This period is sometimes compared to a similar one of Hungarian composer Franz Liszt that happened about 120 years earlier, although Liszt didn't have to travel to concerts in an armored car. So this is funny. I was playing catfishing on stream like a few days ago, and Listomania came up as like a thing, like, well, I mean, what it sounds like, basically. So presumably this is Beatlemania, because like people who are obsessed with the Beatles, right? It makes sense they would have to travel to concerts in an armored car, etc., etc. Pretty sure Beatlemania is a term that was used a lot at the time, and Listomania is definitely what's being included here, so I'm pretty sure this is what's happening. And finally, which movie starring Winona Ryder and Christian Slater follows the protagonist's relationship with 3 titular characters who share the same first name? It originally flopped before developing a cult following after its release. The film had a musical adaptation of the original film title that developed its own cult following off Broadway. In 2018, the musical debuted at the West End in London. My guess here is Heathers, because I know that there is a movie, and I'm pretty sure it's a musical too. In fact, I'm quite sure it's a musical too, called Heathers, and it's about 3 people with the first name Heather. I don't know anything else about it. Like, I don't know who starred in the movie, but like, yeah, it's probably these 2 people. But I know that Heathers is a thing. It's a movie and a musical, and this is what it's about. So I feel pretty good about that. So what we're left with is what to enhance here. And I think I will go with Heathers probably, because I feel like I'd be shocked if that's wrong. I think Rangers is very gettable if you know soccer or hockey, and I think most people will know at least one of the 2. Beatlemania just feels knowable. I don't know. Like, how famous is Listomania is the question. Maybe it's less famous than I think. I'm starting to think maybe that's a better enhance, but I feel like people know the Beatles so well that like maybe, like, I don't know, Spike Lee feels really famous. Man. I'm actually not sure what the move is here. But I think, man. Yeah. How well known is the term listomania? I'm not sure it is that well known. Like, it's definitely a thing, but it's not like... But the whole concerts in an armored car clue just feels like you can kind of get to it anyway. I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to leave it at 6. I don't actually know if this is a good decision or not. But, well, we'll find out, won't we? Is that a car? Does that count? Or is that just motorbikes? Like, what are we doing here? I'm going to click that one. We'll see. Heathers, Beatlemania, Rangers, Cat's Eye. Good lord. South Park is correct. And Spike Lee. Okay, 5 out of 6 on pop culture. We take those every day of the week. I think most times when I play these quizzes, I'm not going to get 5 out of 6 on the pop culture. So that works. I've never heard of Cat's Eye in my life, as that's exactly what I expected to happen. But I don't have a clue what that is. So, yeah. Solid. Very, very solid. Good stuff. Don't know if I enhanced correctly or not, but good anyway. Quiz 4 is all about the Voyager Golden Records. I'm going to play these clips out loud because, well, hopefully I don't get copyrighted for them. I might, but whatever at this point. I guess I should read the question first. The Voyager Golden Records opened with a greeting from what SecGen of the United Nations, heard in the attached audio clip. He would later go on to become president of his own country, blah, blah, blah. I can just listen to this now. Hopefully it will actually play.
As the Secretary General of the United Nations, an organization of 147 member states who represent almost all of the human inhabitants of the planet Earth, I send greetings on behalf of the people of our planet.
Okay, so I have to name... Oh man, is it really going to do this every time? It's annoying. I have to name a Secretary General of the United Nations. Wait, is that... Dude, why is that popping up on my screen? Hopefully since it's a window capture, not a desktop capture, you can't see that. If you can see the thing that's popped up on the screen, leave a comment letting me know. But hopefully you can't... I don't think you can see that. I'll have to check the recording afterwards. Anyway, so... The thing is, I don't actually know for sure when the Voyager spacecraft actually got launched, and it's not really mentioned in this quiz. We know it has to be before 1986 based off of this question here, and I think it's after like the moon landing. So I think it's probably in the 70s or early 80s is what I'm thinking. And I'm trying to think of, okay, who are the Secretary Generals? I did learn this relatively recently, and I was looking at a list of them because I always get them confused. But I think Lyons was the first one, and he was like the 40s basically. Hammarskjöld, the Swedish guy, was in the 50s before he died. Utant was the third. He was the Burmese one, and he was SecGen through the 60s. And then I believe it was Waldheim in the 70s, and then it was Cuellar, I think, in the 80s, and then Boutros Ghali in the 90s. I hope I have the order correct there. But I'm trying to listen to this guy's voice and think, okay, which of these guys is this likely to be? To me, his accent doesn't sound Asian at all, so I don't think it's Utant, which leaves me with Waldheim, probably. And then I guess Cuellar is also a possibility. But again, doesn't sound like a Latin American accent to me either. It doesn't sound super German, Austrian, but it sounds a little more like that to me. And the fact that, like, 1986 election where he's World War II service and knowledge of atrocities sounds much more just like a European thing. So I think it's much more likely to be a European. So I'm going to say Waldheim for this. That's my thought process there. Number 2, what language is heard in this clip?
Üdvözletet küldünk magyar nyelven minden békét szerető lénynek a világ.
So, I don't know what the heck that is. I am going to guess Hungarian because it kind of sounds like in the middle of the clip there's something that sounds vaguely like Magyar, right? I don't know if that's actually what's being said, but this language sounds crazy to me, and it doesn't sound similar to like anything I've heard. Like, it doesn't sound like a Slavic language, it doesn't sound like a Romance language, and there are only so many languages in the EU. So I'm thinking Hungarian would make sense for a language that sounds absolutely crazy and foreign to me. So it's the best guess that I have. It could be something wacky like Maltese or something, because I don't know what that sounds like either. But I think that would sound a little closer to Arabic, if anything. So I'm going to go with Hungarian and hope that that's the right idea. Who composed this classical piece? Okay. Sorry, that audio clip was like way louder than the other ones. That's not much that I can do about that, but sorry for destroying your ears if that is in fact what I just did. This okay, so the clue here, I mean, I don't know classical music. Like I know some like works of like who composed this particular thing with this title, right? I cannot identify classical music from clips because it's always like I've heard this before at some point, but I have no idea which classical piece this is because I don't have any interest in classical music, to be quite honest. But the clue here with presented by this composer to Margrave of Brandenburg, it's like, okay, Brandenburg concertos is just a famous J.S. Bach thing. So I'm thinking like surely we're just talking about Bach. And I will put JS to distinguish him from the other Bachs, even though I probably don't have to do that. But like, again, I don't know much about classical music other than this guy composed this thing. And it's like, you know, sometimes that's all you need. And I see Brandenburg, I say Bach. That's kind of all I'm doing here. Clip 4. What is the name of this song? I might get copyrighted for this, but what the hell? Absolute banger of a song, by the way. Anyone who's watched Back to the Future will know it. Johnny Be Good by Chuck Berry. Just one of those all-time bangers, you know? It's one of the first like rock songs, and it's catchy. It's a good one. Number 5, female vocalist called Sinten or male vocalist called Gerong are occasionally figured in what traditional ensemble music heard in the attached audio clip. Most common instruments heard in this form of music include metallophones and a set of hand drums known as kendang. Go ahead and play this. Right, so here's another thing that I don't know very much about. However, I think it's just gamelan because the words sound Indonesian. Sinten, Gerong, Kendang, right? That all sounds relatively Indonesian, or at least like, you know, it could be Filipino or Malaysia or whatever, but it's like something like that. And gamelan, I swear, has come up like 10 times in trivia recently for me. Like it's like I'd never heard of it like a year ago, and then since then it's come up so many times that it's like gamelan is just in my head now. I don't really know what it is other than like an Indonesian style of traditional music. But again, it's certainly going to be my guess here because it's like I don't know what else this could be, and I feel like it's almost certainly correct. But it's like I don't know why gamelan keeps coming up, but it just does. And then finally, humans aren't the only animals included on the feature on the Golden Record. What animal was included with the clip music attached below? Roger Payne, famous for the discovery of this form of singing, included the clip on his 1970 album Songs of the Blank. Be specific. All right. So I don't know what the heck's going on here, like at all. I'm really quite confused. Discovery of this form of singing, like the only thing that I could come up with when I was thinking about what this question could be was sandworm. And please don't laugh at me. Like I know that that's a fictional thing from Dune. I know that they're not real. So I don't think it makes sense because it's like discovery of this form of singing can't be like a fictional thing. But I can't think of another guess for this. And like, I don't know if this is just a skill issue on my end or if this is actually really hard. I don't know what's going on in that clip. And I can't think of a good guess. And it says be specific. Okay, so I'll say sandworm instead of worm. Like, in that sense, it maybe makes sense. But I don't think we're looking for a fictional creature here. But I can't think of anything else. And it kind of sounds vaguely, at least the last part of the clip sounds vaguely like the sandworms from Dune. So I'm just going to go with that. Please don't laugh at me. Thank you. I'm interested to see what the actual answer is to that, though. So, Waldheim, Hungarian, Bach, Johnny Be Good, and gamelan. I'm going to enhance gamelan because even though I've heard it like 10 times in the last year or whatever, I still feel like it's not super widely known. And I think that the rest of these are a little bit easier. Bach is gettable from Brandenburg. Hungarian people in this server are just going to know what languages sound like. Waldheim is knowable. And then Johnny Be Good, again, I would say is pretty knowable. So I'm going to go with 5. And we'll see if that's the right call or not. Humpback whales. Yeah, okay. You know, okay, that actually makes a lot of sense. Like, man, you know, in hindsight, that's like really obvious. I don't know how I could not have thought of that. Like, the fact that I'm getting the other 5 questions correct and I'm putting as stupid an answer as I did for number 6 is like a little bit bad. For some reason, I never thought of whales. I don't know why I didn't think of whales. And like, maybe I would have put the wrong kind of whale anyway. Um, but like, yikes. I mean, yeah, that makes sense with those noises. Like, of course, like sandworms, really? Like, Jesus. I don't know, man. I couldn't think of a better answer. And honestly, I have to record now because I have to do something in like half an hour and I'm not going to have time after that. So I had to just kind of throw in the towel and be like, okay, I'm going to record now, and certain answers that I don't know, I'm just not going to get. But yeah, that's a little bit of an embarrassing guess. You'll have to excuse me for that. But I think I have 5 out of 6 on all the quizzes so far, which is impressive consistency. We'll go on to quiz 5, which is a geography quiz. Number 1, the La Pérouse Strait separates 2 Eastern Hemisphere islands, which by area are the 21st and 23rd largest islands in the world. Although named for a Frenchman, neither island has ever been part of the French Empire. The La Pérouse Strait separates Sakhalin from Hokkaido. Just have to name one of them. I just know this. Like, I just know what the La Pérouse Strait is. That's definitely not common knowledge, but again, I don't know. Studying geography gets you points, I guess. The Gulf of Kutch and the Gulf of Kambat lie on opposite sides of the Kathiawar Peninsula, which is located entirely in what Indian state? I think this is guessable from the fact that it's an Indian state with peninsulas, and there aren't a lot of those. But this is Gujarat, I believe, because the Gulf of Kutch sounds to me like the Rann of Kutch, and the Rann of Kutch is the giant like salt flat thing in western Gujarat. So I'm just like, okay, Gulf of Kutch, Rann of Kutch, like this is just where we are. And it makes sense because Gujarat has that big peninsula. So there you go. Question 3, among the natural navigable routes separating the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans are the Drake Passage, the Straits of Magellan, and what third channel named after a ship that sailed through it during a survey that lasted from 1826 to 1830. Again, I just know this cold. It's called the Beagle Channel. Might be guessable from the fact that, like, you know, ship doing a survey in that part of the world, like, could be the Beagle, Darwin, etc. But, like, yeah, I just know it's called the Beagle Channel, so that works too. And now we go a little bit away from pure geography. First, in Theravada Buddhism, what is the liminal state between death and rebirth? The word appears in the title of an award-winning 2017 novel, which describes an American president lamenting his deceased son. So, I think I may know the name of the book. I think I bought this for my dad for Christmas one year. It was a Joe Biden memoir called Promise Me Dad. And I think it checks. I mean, because his son Bo, right, died, so like it makes sense that it would be that 2017 checks out for the timing. So I feel decent about this. The thing is, like, promise me dad, like, I guess one of those words means the liminal state between death and rebirth in Theravada Buddhism. It's probably not promise, so it's a 50-50 between me and dad. And I feel a little bit better about dad being the answer. And the fact that the word son is being included, like, maybe it makes sense for that to be the answer, but, like, I don't know. I don't know enough about Buddhism to know what this actually is. But again, I feel like Promise Me Dad is the book. I hope I'm not thinking of the wrong book, but I think it checks out. So hopefully it's dad and not me. The Chinese festival Qixi celebrates the forbidden love between the cowherd Niulang and the weaver girl Jinu, who are separated by what objects still visible today, both in and outside of China. So I have heard of this before, and I'm pretty sure that it's like a thing in the sky, like a night sky thing. The problem is I don't remember what night sky thing it is, and I'm trying to think what's an object in the night sky that could like separate things. The best thing I can think of is the Milky Way, because it kind of appears as like a line in the sky, and again, like visible both in and outside of China, makes sense for it to be in the sky. But it could be the moon, it could be like Orion's belt, it could, you know, there's other possibilities for what this could be, but like to me, something in the sky that separates two things feels like something that should be like kind of in the form of a line, and that just kind of makes me think of the Milky Way, but I don't know if that's what's going on. It's just the best guess that I have. And finally, Shaban and Shawwal lie on opposite sides of what period of time, which translates to burning heat. The burning heat may have less to do with the weather and more to do with how you might feel during this time. So Shaban and Shawwal, those sound very Arabic to me. And like, what's a 8 and 10, like a period of time in Islam? It's just like you just say Ramadan. I didn't know that translated to burning heat, but I have to assume this is the answer because how you might feel during this time, it's like you feel shitty because you're not eating, right? Like it makes sense. So that's kind of my thought process there. So this is not an easy quiz, but I feel pretty decent about all these answers. I hope this is dad and not me. I hope I'm on the right track with the thought process there. And again, Milky Way is a guess, but I think it makes some sense. So hopefully that's what we're going for. As for what to enhance, I think I will enhance one of the pure geo things, and I'll probably enhance number 1 because I feel like knowing what the La Perouse Strait is very much not easy, and I think Gujarat, especially for GeoGuessr players, is more guessable from the peninsula stuff, and Beagle also feels more guessable. So we'll see, but I will enhance number 1. And maybe we can break the streak of 5s. Can we get a 6? No, we cannot. Lincoln in the Bardo. Goodness me. Wow. Okay, I've never heard of that. I swear, okay. God, it's like lamenting the death of his son really sounded like Promise Me Dad, because I think that's a book by Joe Biden. Anyway, I'm gonna have to look that up now because I need to know. But I was actually correct about the rest, so that does work. It's another 5 out of 6. I have to look this up now. Lincoln in the Bardo by George Saunders. What? Oh, so it's not even by the president. I thought it was by the president. What was the question? Now I can't see the question anymore. I thought it was saying it was written by the president. Which, and now I need to make sure I'm not crazy. Promise Me Dad. A 2078. It was even the right year. It's written by Joe Biden. A memoir 2017 by Joe Biden reflects on losing his eldest son, Bo, to brain cancer. That's crazy. Like, that fits so well. That's insane. Like, oh my God. That fits even better than I expected. Okay, well, I don't feel bad at all about guessing what I did there. I mean, I think I've heard of Lincoln in the Bardo, like, vaguely before, but I wouldn't have remembered it. And again, I thought it was written by the president, so I guess I misparsed the question text. But, wow. Okay. Cool. That was not 6 out of 6, but we got another 5. The next one is a science quiz written by Rasmus, and I don't think I'm getting 5 on this because this is a hard quiz. Starting with, measuring in at a length of approximately 10 to the negative 2 meters, the smallest frog in the world is Pidophrene amanuensis, alongside other species such as Dendrolagus machiae and the kumul bird. It makes up part of the endemic fauna of which famously biodiverse island east of the Wallace Line. So the Wallace Line is like the thing that separates the like Asian fauna from the like Oceanian fauna or whatever. It cuts between Borneo and Sulawesi, and it cuts between, I think, Bali and Lombok. So stuff east of the Wallace Lines like Sulawesi, Lombok, Flores, Sumba, Timor, New Guinea, etc. Now, I don't know which one this is. I'm going to guess New Guinea because I guess if I'm thinking famously biodiverse, to me, like New Guinea is more famously biodiverse than Sulawesi or Timor or any of the others. But it could be one of the others. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if there are any clues in the Latin names. I can't get anything out of these. Kumul bird sounds Mayan, so like I don't know what's going on with that. But yeah, I'm just gonna say New Guinea and hope that it's New Guinea, but it's one of those. I really don't know which. Measuring it at a width of approximately 10 to the negative 6 meters, the human hair is commonly used in high school classrooms around the world to demonstrate an optical phenomenon whereby a laser that strikes the hair goes on to generate a spotted line pattern. Name this phenomenon, also commonly observed in CDs and some nights, as a corona around stars and the moon. This one I do not know. I'm going to say diffraction. I know there's like diffraction, refraction, reflection. There's all sorts of like optical things. I don't know what they are. I don't know the differences between them. This is probably something completely different from the 3 things that I just said. But I can't think of a better answer because I don't know. I just don't know science, I guess. But this is, I think, a pretty hard question, and I'm not going to get much out of it. Measuring it at a length of approximately 10 to the negative 6 meters, sickle cells are much thinner than regular blood cells. Symptoms of sickle cell disease often include anemia and an increased risk of stroke. and exchange carriers of sickle cell disease also experience increased protection from what disease? This increased protection stems from the life cycle of the infecting agent taking place in part within the carrier's blood cell. Again, I don't know. I mean, I feel like there are a lot of diseases that have to do with blood cells. I'll guess hemophilia, because that is a disease that has to do with blood cells, I guess. I can't really get anything out of this question. Maybe there's a clue that I'm missing or something, but I'm not sure what to do, so I'm just guessing. Measuring it at a length of approximately 10 to the negative 8 meters, the alpha helix is one of the two most common regular secondary structures making up the backbone of most proteins. Name the other most common secondary structure. Again, I don't know. Is it called the beta helix or something? I don't know what this is. I'm going to say RNA, because I guess I associate those with proteins. I don't know if that's a correct association or an erroneous association. Could be DNA, could be anything, really. But I'm just going to say RNA and hope for the best, because I just don't know. Measuring it at a diameter of approximately negative 10 to the negative 10 meters, oganesson holds the title for the heaviest element in the periodic table. However, due to the effects of electron shielding, it is not the element with the largest atomic radius. Name one of the two low-valence elements in dispute for the title of the largest atomic radius. Now, this is something that I did learn a long time ago, and I'm trying to remember. I've been trying to remember which one it is. I think I feel okay about it. I'm pretty sure it's one of the alkali metals, one of the ones in the first column, which low valence, right? One valence electron would make sense to be in the first column. And I think it is one of the larger ones. It's not like hydrogen or lithium. It's further down. Now it goes, so 1 is hydrogen, 3 is lithium, 11 is sodium, 19 is potassium. And then I think it's 37 rubidium, 55 cesium, and then 87 francium, if I'm remembering the numbers correctly on the left side. Now, if there are 2 in contention for it, I'm going to hope that the 2 are just both in the first column and there's not some random other one. So if it's rubidium or cesium or francium, I feel like I can hedge by saying cesium here. And it's maybe it's rubidium and cesium because those are the ones that actually exist and are stable. Or maybe it's cesium and francium because it's francium isn't stable, but if it was, it would be bigger, that kind of thing. That's kind of what I'm thinking is going on, because I don't think francium, it does exist stably in nature, whereas the other ones do, as far as I know. But yeah, I think hedging by I think it's, my guess is that the pair is either rubidium cesium or it's cesium francium. That's kind of where I'm at. So I'm going to say cesium because I feel like it's the most high probability hedge here. And hopefully that's the right line of thinking. Measuring it at a length of approximately 10 to the negative 35 meters. The quantum length is the smallest meaningful unit of length according in physics. What scientists proposed and is the namesake of the concept of the quantum length, laying the foundation somewhat appropriately for the field of quantum mechanics. This, I know, is called the Planck length. This is just the tiny length in physics is called the Planck length. I think that is a little bit easier than most of the rest of this. This is a very, very difficult quiz. And I think I'm going to enhance 5. It's a little bit of a risk because I'm not sure that it's correct, but I think that 6 is more gettable. I think that 1 is more gettable, and 2, 3, and 4, I just don't think I'm right. So we'll go with 5, and we'll hope that that's right. I don't know, but this is definitely the toughest one so far. Well, okay, the Geo one is hard too, but I'm just good at that, and I'm not very good at science. New Guinea is correct. That's good. Diffraction is correct. We take those. Nice. Okay, malaria... unlucky. It was hemophilia was what I said, so that's tough. Beta sheets, never pulling that. Cesium or francium, so I was right about that. So cesium was a good guess, and then Max Planck. 4 out of 6 on that quiz. Fine by me. Genuinely fine by me. I think malaria is probably gettable. I'm sure that's a knowable thing. It's just not something that I know because my science knowledge is maybe a little bit lacking. But overall, I think this is a good result. And diffraction was a guess. I was not positive at all that that was diffraction. And I was ready for it to be refraction. But it was diffraction. And it was New Guinea. So it's the guesses they're happening right now. Good stuff. Finally, quiz number 7 is a history quiz. Historically a major center of pilgrimage of the Orthodox Tewahedo Church, the rock-hewn churches of Lalibela were built during the Zagwe dynasty of which modern-day country? A more famous dynasty in this country claimed its lineage from Menelik I, the son of King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. If you have never seen pictures of the rock-hewn churches of Lalibela, you should look them up. They are really, really cool. But this is in Ethiopia. Menelik is also a famous Ethiopian person, emperor, whatever. But yeah, Lalibela is awesome. Which city's cathedral was founded in 597 AD by Augustine, the monk who brought Christianity to England? It became a major pilgrimage site after 1170 AD when one of its clerics, Thomas Becket, was murdered on the orders of King Henry II. I'm gonna say Canterbury, because I'm pretty sure Thomas Becket was like the first Archbishop of Canterbury, or at least an Archbishop of Canterbury. So I think it's just the only thing I'm going to come up with. Traveling pilgrims along the Silk Road contributed to the creation of cave complexes near the oasis city of Dunhuang, which frequently depicted what religious figure? In 2001, 2 colossal statues of this figure located in Bamiyan Valley were destroyed by the Taliban. Bamiyan is in Afghanistan. I think Dunhuang sounds like it's maybe in China. I'm going to guess Buddha, because I don't have a better guess. Like, this is a guess, but it's like colossal statues in Asia. It's just like, this seems like a Buddha thing. It could be something else. If it's something else, it's a very hard question, but it just feels like this is what I should say. The Gate of the Sun was a pilgrimage site at the settlement of Tiwanaku, which may have been built by the ancestors of what ethnic group? This non-Incan ethnic group, along with the Quechua, comprised 90% of the army that fought against Paraguay in the Chaco War. I'm going to say Aymara because, again, I can't really think of another guess here. Like, Guarani was another thing that came to mind, but they're, like, in Paraguay. Like, we're fighting against Paraguay, so, like, that I don't think makes sense. And the Aymara are, like, the other, like, ethnic group in that, like, sort of Peru-Bolivia area. I mean, Tiwanaku's in Bolivia, so we're talking about Bolivia. And I definitely associate the Aymara with Bolivia, so I just don't really see what else this could be. So hopefully that's where we're at. The mausoleum of what leader was a popular site of visitation in the 20th century after his body was embalmed? This leader was once transported back to his country in a sealed train, whereupon he led its October Revolution. October Revolution is a famous Russia thing, and famously Vladimir Lenin was embalmed. Like, I guess that's just a thing that I know about Vladimir Lenin, but I think this is probably pretty commonly known, but anyway, leader of October Revolution is just Lenin. And then finally, which historic ruler made a pilgrimage to the oasis of Siwa, where he confirmed his identity as a demigod son of Zeus Ammon. This conqueror dealt a fatal blow to the Persians at the Battle of Gaugamela, though his own territories would be split amongst his generals after his untimely death. Battle of Gaugamela is a famous thing that Alexander the Great was in. And again, it makes sense. I mean, he was fighting against the Persians, he was conquering a lot of stuff, and then his territories were split, blah, blah, blah. Just sounds like Alexander. So that should be what's going on here. And I think I do feel confident enough to enhance Aymara. I hope this isn't a mistake, but I think that this is... I just don't know what else it would be. I can't think of another prominent enough ethnic group from that area. And yeah, it just seems like the hardest one. So that's what I'm going with. Never mind. Wow, that's... I wonder what city this is. Is it Auckland? Auckland street sign, maybe? I don't know. Anyway, I don't know what even counts as a traffic light here. Okay, that works. Aymara is correct. Canterbury, Lenin, Alexander, Buddha, Ethiopia, 6 out of 6. So, I got 5 out of 6 5 times in a row. And then I got 4 out of 6 on the 6th one, but then I got 6 on the 7th one. So I averaged 5 correct answers over the course of this, which I think is very, very good. If we take a look at the... Okay, yes, that is very, very good indeed. I'm going to be probably second. CPI guy that's a really good score, but everyone else, I mean, if I'm averaging 5 points plus enhancing per quiz, that's 35 before enhancing. And if we say on average I get maybe like 0.6 per enhance or something, 0.5 or let's say 0.5 per enhance, to be a little bit more conservative with that, then that's another 3.5. So that would land me at 38.5. So I think I'm going to be second here. There might be more people who play the quizzes after that, but I think that I did very, very well here. And a lot of this stuff was very wheelhouse for me. It was like the pop culture quiz was just stuff that I happened to know about other than the random band. The connections, again, unfortunate on the Olympics thing because that was close. But everything else, I was just able to put it together. The geography was very hard. You can see the quiz average, even in a geography-focused Discord server, is only 2.68. I'm actually kind of shocked at how low the average is on the media quiz, because that one didn't seem quite as crazy to me. Never mind me saying sandworms, but again, 5 out of 6 on that one was apparently very good. The science quiz was very hard, at least for me. Apparently the 6th one was quite easy in comparison, but I think overall that went very, very well. So, I guess what I'm going to do, let's see. The deadline is not for 4.5 hours, but if I keep the recording going, I can just pause it and then I don't have to do any editing later. So I think I'm going to pause it and I'm just going to leave my computer on for 4.5 hours and then I'll see you guys at 9 p.m. when the final scores are in. But yeah, I think I'll probably be second here, which is a very, very good start to the league. And there's no way that I'm going to play this well each week. Averaging 5 per quiz is not sustainable. But that was, well, about as good a start as I could have hoped for. So, yeah, I guess I'll see you guys in a second. We'll see how I did in the end. Alrighty, here are the final standings for week number 1. I did finish in second place as predicted. I was actually close to first place. I was only 0.19 points away. But honestly, again, this felt like a very wheelhouse week, and these were just things that I knew, and all of the quizzes were just at least mostly up my alley, which definitely is not going to happen every week. But I'm very happy to start the new season with a strong performance. Congrats to CPI Guy for taking first place and Chris Lev for rounding out the podium. And thank you to all 54 people who submitted at least one quiz this week. And of course, thank you to Saluna Physics, Rasmus, Tezzy, and Yertle for submitting the quizzes, or, creating the quizzes themselves. Would not be possible without their hard work. So yeah, that's going to do it for LDQL Season 11, Week 1. I hope you enjoyed and are happy to see the league back. And I will see you again very soon for another week of good trivia. Until then.